Mark M. McMillan sat with his back to the wall in the Salty Gull, a dim, wood-paneled bar near the Port City docks. His hands were relaxed on the table, but his eyes missed nothing. The beer before him remained untouched, the foam slowly receding. The jukebox played a soft blues tune, nearly drowned out by the distant hum of refrigeration units and the occasional clink of glass. It was Tuesday, quiet enough to think. Too quiet, maybe. He hadn't come looking for trouble. Truth was, Mac wasn't even sure what he was looking for anymore. 15 years in the teams left their marks, in scars, in silences, in how one breathes differently when they've known war. It wasn't just the loud moments, the firefights and adrenaline, it was the aftermath, the decompression. The shift from always watching your six to trying to find meaning in grocery aisles and empty apartments. Port City seemed like a place where a man could disappear without becoming invisible. Salt air, long piers, a harbor that never slept, it reminded him of places he'd seen across the world, minus the mortar rounds and language barriers. He'd arrived 3 weeks earlier, duffel in hand, his entire life reduced to a few necessities. He'd rented a small room above a tackle shop owned by an older couple who didn't ask questions. He liked that. The walls were thin, the mattress lumpy, but the space was his. It wasn't a barracks. It wasn't a forward operating base. It was quiet. He tried to make routines. Morning runs down the jetty. Black coffee, always. Fishing sometimes. But the transition wasn't just about finding peace. It was about surviving the silence. The Salty Gull had caught his eye during a stroll. It wasn't flashy. Weather-beaten sign, half-lit neon, smell of fried food and stale beer. Mac figured it was a good place to sit, observe, maybe feel something close to normal. So he'd come in, nodded at the bartender, ordered a beer, and kept to himself. And yet, trouble still found him. Your kind's not welcome here. Too rowdy. Take your business elsewhere, came the voice of Vic Rizzo, the owner, breaking the low hum of the room. Mac didn't look up right away. He knew that tone. He'd heard it in border towns, in sketchy markets where trust didn't flow easily. But here? Rowdy? Mac finally asked, his voice low, controlled. Haven't even touched my drink. Vic sneered, arms crossed, posture stiff. He was a broad man, once athletic but now gone soft around the middle. His face was red from years of drink and sun, his eyes calculating. You military? Vic asked, even though the question was rhetorical. Mac met his gaze. Navy. Vic grunted. Figures. Don't want trouble in my bar. Seen what your type brings. Loud stories, fights, acting like you own the place. Mac said nothing at first. He could have explained, told Vic about his service, the injuries that ended it, the months of recovery. He could have told him about teammates who never made it home. But what would it change? I've been sitting here quietly, Mac said, finally. I don't cause problems. Vic jerked a thumb toward the exit. Don't care. Out. Before I make you leave. Mac stared at him for a moment, then slowly stood. The muscles in his back ached, an old injury from a mission gone sideways. He'd had surgeries, therapy, pills that messed with his head. Still, he moved with that unmistakable economy of motion, grace honed under pressure. He looked at the half-full beer on the table. Keep the change, he murmured. Vic scoffed, already turning away. As Mac stepped into the cool night air, the neon behind him buzzed weakly. He paused a few blocks down, near the seawall, listening to the waves slap against the rocks. The moon hung low, a silver coin in a dark pocket. He pulled out his phone, unlocked a secure app known only to a few. No calls, no drama. Just a message. To Reaper. Salty Gull Bar, Port City. Vic Rizzo. Hostile to veterans. Just FYI. Mac. He didn't expect a response. The network was mostly dormant now. But sometimes old signals still echoed. 3 hours earlier. Vic Rizzo was feeling good. It was a decent Tuesday, inventory was stocked, a local band was set to play Friday, and the tourists had started showing up with the warmer weather. Business was ticking up. He stood behind the bar, polishing a pint glass with a towel that needed retiring. The place was his domain. He bought it 10 years ago after a minor payout from a construction accident. Named it after a seagull that used to haunt the dock. Liked the name. It had character. When he saw Mac earlier that evening, silent, stone-faced, eyes scanning everything, he'd felt a prickle of unease. Vic didn't like military types. Hadn't since the fight. Back in 2016, a group of rowdy sailors trashed the place during Fleet Week. Chairs broken, waitress harassed. Cops came, but charges didn't stick. Ever since, Vic had made it his personal mission to keep that element out. If they didn't like it, tough. So when Mac walked in, lean, alert, with those dead serious eyes, Vic's hackles rose. Now. Across town, Reaper sat in a low-lit cafe near the marina, sipping coffee that tasted like burnt regret. The name on his passport said Jason Quinn, but everyone who mattered still called him Reaper. He had the kind of presence that made rooms quiet. Not loud. Just, complete. He'd been out 2 years, working private security and consulting, sometimes just drifting. The bond with his old team remained strong, quiet texts, occasional reunions. They had a thread, encrypted, where they'd share news, updates, and warnings. Mac's message appeared mid-sip. He read it once. Then again. He stared at the phone for a long moment. Then he stood. The next day, 3:02 p.m. Vic was just opening up for the afternoon crowd. He whistled tunelessly as he unlocked the main door. The sun was bright, glinting off the windows. He didn't notice the vans at first, 3 matte black vehicles parked across the street, unmarked but clean. The first door opened. Then the second. Then the third. 12 men stepped out, like shadows forming substance. Their movements weren't aggressive, just measured, deliberate. Civvies, sure. But you could tell. The way they held themselves. Like lions pretending to be house cats. Vic's heart stuttered. They crossed the street in silence, boots thudding softly against the pavement. No chatter. No posturing. Reaper led them. Aviators on, beard neatly trimmed, hands at his sides. When he stopped in front of the door, Vic stepped back instinctively. Can I help you? Vic said, voice cracking slightly. Reaper didn't answer right away. He scanned the interior, checking exits, layout, lines of sight. Old habits. Vic Rizzo, he asked finally. Yeah, Vic replied, swallowing hard. We heard you had a run-in with one of ours. Mac. Vic forced a smile. Big misunderstanding. He looked tense. I was just protecting the mood of the place, you know. Behind Reaper, a mountain of a man, Tank, let out a low, rumbling laugh that made the windows shake. No harm done, right? Vic added quickly. Reaper's smile didn't reach his eyes. Wrong. He stepped forward, just close enough for discomfort. You insulted and ejected a teammate. A man who gave more for this country than you'll ever understand. I didn't mean. You meant every word, Reaper cut in. So here's what's going to happen. He gestured slightly, and the others moved, not aggressively, just filling the space. Some leaned against walls, others sat casually. But every move was deliberate. Assertive. They were making it known, this was a correction. You will call Mac. You will apologize. Then you will make a donation to the Navy SEAL Foundation in his name. Publicly. Vic's face twisted. A donation? To what? Save face. To show respect, Reaper said. To show that what you did has consequences. And if I don't? Vic challenged, some of his bar owner bravado returning. Doc stepped up then, clean-cut, professional, with the eyes of a man who could dissect your finances or your carotid artery, depending on mood. Then we file a complaint. Launch a PR campaign. Share a certain video we recovered from a regular's phone last night, Doc said calmly, holding up his phone. Vic paled. There's a video. There's always a video, Doc replied, smiling without warmth. The weeks after the Salty Gull incident were quieter, but Mac didn't mistake quiet for peace. Port City now welcomed him, or at least respected him, but the rest of the world hadn't changed. Veterans like him still struggled, still wandered through towns like ghosts, misunderstood and unseen. Mac sat on the seawall most evenings, watching waves slap the rocks like time ticking away. He kept in touch with the team. Not constantly. Just enough. A few encrypted messages. A couple of calls. One day it was Reaper sending him a clip of Tank deadlifting a busted ATV to move it off a muddy trail. The next, Doc asked Mac for insight into a vet-owned gym opening 2 towns over. Then the call came. Reaper's voice was short, tight. You sitting down? I'm always sitting, Mac replied. Reaper didn't laugh. It's Willard's son. Eli. Mac's spine straightened. Did something happen? He's alive. For now. Kids in Ridgemont. Cops aren't helping. Might be something worse than bullying. Stalking. Maybe recruitment by some underground group. He needs help. You were closest to Willard. You up for this? Mac didn't hesitate. Send the file. Ridgemont was the kind of place that hid its rot under seasonal parades and Sunday sermons. Mac drove through its main strip slowly, taking in the faded signs, the hardware store with a "proudly serving since 1954" banner, the diner with half its letters burned out. He rented a room in the rear of a shuttered boarding house, something off the radar. Then he walked. Just watched. Watched the way the sheriff nodded a little too long at one of the pickup driving locals with prison tattoos fading under fresh sleeves. Watched how the high school students kept their heads down after 3 p.m. Watched a town pretending not to see what festered under its sidewalks. Mac found Eli on the 4th day, in the alley behind the auto shop, taking a beating. 3 of them, older teens, maybe early 20s. Wearing local mechanics' uniforms. The kind of punks who never leave home, who inherit power instead of earning it. Mac moved fast. Not recklessly. Just with finality. The first attacker didn't see the elbow coming. He crumpled silently. The second raised a wrench. Mac stepped in, used the man's own momentum to drop him flat with a takedown. The third ran. Mac let him. Eli staggered back, blood dripping from a split lip. Who the hell are you? Friend of your father's, Mac said. I don't need rescuing. No, Mac agreed. You need backup. He helped Eli to his feet. The boy had fire. That much was clear. But he was alone. And even the strongest fire, without fuel, dies. They walked to a nearby park bench. Mac handed him a bottled water. Tell me everything. Eli wiped his mouth. They've been following me. Couple of months now. Started as bullying. Then they wanted me to join something. A group. Real hush-hush. Kept talking about loyalty, brotherhood, but it felt off. Like a cult crossed with a militia. What did they call themselves? Eli hesitated. Order 9. Mac felt a chill, like old ghosts brushing his spine. I've heard of them, he said. Former military washouts. Some dishonorably discharged. Others just angry. They form cells in small towns. Recruit the disillusioned. Preach discipline, offer belonging. But they train for hate. They weaponize it. They wanted me because of my dad, Eli said bitterly. Said I had warrior blood. They don't want warriors. They want puppets. Over the next 2 days, Mac shadowed the town like a wolf. Quiet, watching, collecting intel. He confirmed 4 known Order 9 members, all with past assault charges either dismissed or buried by local connections. They met in a rusted warehouse outside town. Armed. Organized. Mac made a call. Reaper. I need eyes and leverage. Quiet support. Reaper responded in a low voice. Say the word. The next night, a nondescript van rolled into Ridgemont. Out stepped 3 men, Reaper, Tank, and Hawk. Each one moved with calm purpose. No insignias. No weapons visible. Just presence. They set up at the motel. Mac briefed them over coffee and schematics of the warehouse. This isn't a raid, Mac said. Not yet. We're not feds. But we scare them just enough, expose them. I want them to scatter. Exfil for Eli? Reaper asked. If needed, Mac said. But I think he's tougher than he knows. That evening, the team walked through town. Nothing dramatic. Just scene. The local bullies suddenly remembered appointments elsewhere. The sheriff turned pale when Reaper strolled into the station asking for directions. The next move came from Order 9. They left a message for Eli, a dead animal pinned to his locker with a knife. Mac saw it first. He pulled the knife free, studied the handle. Crude. Military-style blade. Knockoff. Trying too hard. Eli didn't flinch. He looked Mac dead in the eye. Let me talk to them. Absolutely not, Mac said. I have to, Eli replied. They'll never back down until I show them I won't either. Mac saw something in the boy, Willard Steele. But not recklessness. Purpose. The meet happened at the warehouse. They expected Eli alone. They got more than they bargained for. Eli stood in the center of the cracked concrete floor, facing 6 men. Behind shadows, Mac and the others watched silently. One of the Order 9 leaders stepped forward. Thought you were smart, Eli. Guess you're just another weak link. Eli didn't blink. I came to say it to your face. You don't own me. You don't scare me. And if you ever touch my home, my school, or me again, you'll find out what real discipline looks like. The leader laughed. Then Mac stepped into the light. Then Reaper. Then Tank. Then Hawk. The laughter stopped. You have a choice, Mac said. Leave this town. Disband. Or we send everything we've documented to federal authorities. You think your records are sealed? We've cracked black sites for breakfast. One of them reached for his waistband. Tank raised an eyebrow. Don't, Mac said. They didn't. The next day, the warehouse was empty. A week later, Ridgemont's sheriff retired early. A new acting sheriff was appointed, recommended discreetly by a federal contact Reaper had nudged. Eli came by Mac's motel as he was packing. You leaving? Yeah, Mac said. Job's done. Eli looked down. Thanks. You did more than I did, Mac said. You faced them. Eli smiled. Maybe one day I'll wear a uniform too. You already carry the weight. Just remember, you never carry it alone. Mac returned to Port City with the kind of satisfaction no medal ever gave him. The salty gull was livelier now. More veteran patches on jackets. More nods of solidarity. A local artist had painted a mural on the back wall, 12 figures standing behind one. No faces. Just silhouettes. One held a folded flag. Reaper joined him again one night. "You thinking what I'm thinking?" Mac asked. "That we've got more work to do." Mac nodded. "Then let's make it official," Reaper said. "No name. No uniforms. Just a creed." "What's the creed?" Mac asked. Reaper looked him dead in the eyes. "You see one of us fall, you raise 12 to stand." Mac raised his glass. To the 12. They drank in silence. Because real brotherhood isn't loud. It's just always there.